So once I've finished all my range of movement tests and my relevant neurological tests, I'll have the patient or Bonnie laying down on the table face down. Now Bonnie, we're going to do a couple of muscle tests here, and I want to see how strong your hamstring muscles are. So if you could start off, bend your left knee for me please. And it's always good when the patient's laying down, sometimes left and right gets a bit confusing, so if you want to use the left leg, just give it a little tap. Now, don't have the knee at a full 90 degrees, just have the leg about here. Now, when you're doing the muscle test, just be very careful that you're not pushing on the Achilles tendon, because that can be tender. Just have a nice wide position like so, and just let the fingers touch the leg. You don't want to grip the leg, okay, because that's uncomfortable. So just have the here, because you're going to be pushing with the palm of your hand on the muscle. Now, Bonnie, if you could just hold the leg nice and strong for me. So this test is just establishing that there's good power, good strength in the leg. Now, if you have a young patient or an elderly patient, you may not need to push nearly as hard, okay, because it's not a wrestling match. With a muscle test, really, it's not so much how much overall strength they have, it's the speed of response. Just relax there for me, Bonnie, please, and then we'll test the other side. If you have a stronger patient, maybe someone who's not quite so sure about the whole principle of muscle testing, you can always demonstrate to them just how strong they are to start with. So hold nice and strong for me, Bonnie. Hold and just see. So the hamstring muscle is not a muscle that you can easily, just relax, cheat with, because the hamstring muscle is typically 4 to 5 times stronger than the upper body. So a perfectly good hamstring, I shouldn't be able to overpower with my arm strength. So I like to start with the hamstrings. I like to use the hamstrings to test the nerves all the way up through the whole spinal cord. So Bonnie, what we're going to do now is we're going to try and locate where the stress is coming from that may be affecting your health. So what we're going to do, just with very light fingertip pressure, I'm going to isolate each nerve as it comes off the spinal cord and goes into your body. Now, if we come across a problem, you may find that the muscle goes weaker. So if you could bend the knee for me there, please. Hold nice and strong. So what I try to do is then find an area where there's maybe nerve stress on the body, so I can demonstrate the difference in how the strength actually feels. So hold nice and strong for me, Bonnie, please. Good. So then we'll start off with the coccyx nerve on the left, the coccyx nerve on the right, the sacral nerve on the left, the sacral nerve on the right. Okay, so here we can demonstrate a weakness. Okay, now how does that feel, Bonnie?
No strength at all.
No strength at all. Now, let me explain how that test works, because you see, for a lot of people it will be the first time they've experienced something like this, and they're thinking, gee, what happened? What are they doing? Is it a trick? Is it, smokes and mirrors? Now, Bonnie, imagine you're having a conversation with somebody and someone else comes and puts their hand on your shoulder. Now, typically, you can continue that conversation and be aware there's somebody there, yes? Mm-hmm. So always ask the patient if they understand. Yeah, of course, that makes sense. Now, Bonnie, imagine you've got a nice fresh bruise on the shoulder here. You're having a conversation, someone comes and puts their hand on the shoulder. Automatically, you're going to turn, kick, punch, scream. You're going to do whatever you can to protect yourself. Sometimes even just before they touch it. Have you ever had that happen before?
No, but I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Okay. So exactly the same principle. If I were to put pressure here and there was a bruise, you would stop what you're doing and you'd focus on trying to protect yourself. When I put pressure here on the sacral nerve, exactly the same reflex is in play. And your reflexes overpower what you're consciously trying to do here, because it's more important for your body to protect you than it is to show off how strong your leg is. Mm-hmm. So once you've established how the test works and it makes sense, then you can start going into exactly what that nerve may be affecting. So as I go through the body, wherever I find a weakness, I'll then explain where that nerve travels to and what kind of things it may influence. So let's start from the beginning, and we'll go through each nerve in turn, right the way up through the spinal cord. So again, doing the muscle test, we check to make sure the muscle's nice and strong to begin with, and we can use either leg. It doesn't have to always be the same side, so that allows the patient to relax. One other thing, just beware if the patient has a tendency to go into a cramp. Okay, because if they start to cramp, obviously it's going to be uncomfortable, and if the muscle does cramp, maybe just do some reflex, just do some rubbing, increase the circulation to help release